Have you ever felt like the whole world is leaning on you, but no one asks if you're tired? Have you ever wondered, when will it be my turn to rest? I know that feeling, the kind where you wake up already exhausted with a mental to-do list that's not even yours. Husband, kids, family, work, expectations. You try to be the one everyone can count on, always showing up, always saying yes, even when your soul is screaming no, even when your body is begging you to slow down. You've learned to hide your exhaustion, swallow your pain just to keep the peace, just to avoid disappointing anyone. But one day, you find yourself sitting quietly in the kitchen, holding a cold cup of tea, and suddenly, it hits you. You're completely drained, and no one even noticed. There's something deeply flawed about how we've been taught to love. We give, and give, and give, believing it makes us good, kind, worthy. But no one told us this. Being kind doesn't mean erasing yourself. Loving others doesn't mean destroying you. Have you ever noticed? Every time you say it's okay, I'll handle it, while you're silently falling apart, inside a little piece of your peace slips away. I'm not telling you to stop caring. I'm not asking you to become selfish. I'm simply inviting you to ask yourself, where is your boundary, and how often do you let people cross it just because you're afraid to say no? Because here's the quiet truth. You might be losing yourself, not all at once, but little by little, moment by moment, choice by choice. In today's video, we'll explore something gentle, but also powerful. There are certain things in your life that are sacred, precious, non-negotiable, but only if you protect them. We're going to talk about 7 things you should never let anyone take from you. Not because you're cold, not because you've stopped caring, but because these things are your lifeline, the roots of your peace, the edge of your wholeness, the core of a life you can truly call your own. So give yourself this moment, just a few minutes, without guilt, without interruption, and maybe, just maybe, by the end of this video, you'll no longer feel bad for placing your hand over your heart and whispering, "I deserve peace." Let's begin. Together, let's reclaim what was always yours, before the world tried to take it. Have you ever said yes to someone, thinking it'd be something small, just a little favor, just a quick help, and suddenly you're doing everything. They're watching, and you're carrying it all. I still remember the first time it happened to me. A relative asked if I could help plan a birthday party for their child. I said yes. I thought I'd just pick out a gift, maybe make a few suggestions. But somehow, I was booking the venue, coordinating the food, managing the guest list, all of it. And they said one sentence. "You're just better at this kind of thing than I am." On the day of the party, I was drained, completely. But they were all smiles, taking the compliments, without a single thank you. And when I gently said, I felt overwhelmed, they laughed. Come on, it's just a party. Why are you making it a big deal? Have you ever been in that place where your effort feels invisible, where your help turns into expectation? That's when I learned something that changed everything. People will keep handing you their weight, as long as you keep lifting it. And once you start carrying it for them, they'll gladly let you carry it forever. The Stoics said you have power over your mind, not over external things. You can't control people asking, or expecting, or piling things on you. But you can choose not to take it on. You can stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, does this really belong to me? If the answer is no, then you owe them nothing. Helping is beautiful, but sacrificing yourself for a burden that was never yours, that's not kindness. That's self-erasure. And here's the harsh truth. The longer you erase yourself, the less people will even see you. They won't see your exhaustion. They'll only see what you do for them. So next time someone says, "Can you just help me real quick?" Pause, look inward, and ask, am I about to walk into a party where I'll be the one cleaning up alone at the end? Remember this. Every time you say no to what doesn't belong to you, you're saying yes to what does. Your peace, your boundary, your emotional health. You weren't born to carry everything. You were born to breathe, to rest, to choose what's truly yours. Don't let your willingness turn into a weight. And if you've been waiting for a reason to put something down, this is it. I am not a dumping ground for the world's demands. I have the right to protect my peace. I am allowed to say no, and I am choosing to come back to myself. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to breathe and drop one thing today that was never yours to carry. Leave a comment below. What are you putting down today? Your story might give someone else permission to do the same. They say, giving is a form of love. But what happens when you keep giving and no one ever thinks to give back? I have a friend. His name is David, the kind of person everyone turns to, especially when money's tight. It started with a small loan. A friend from the past needed help fixing a car. David said yes. No hesitation, no condition, no second thought. But the thank you never came. Instead, came more calls. Electric bill, credit card due. Mom got sick, wife lost her job. And just like that, David wasn't just losing money. He started losing sleep, losing peace, and slowly losing himself. Here's what most people forget. Money is not just a number. It's your time, your labor, your late nights, your skipped vacations, your self-control on days you wanted to splurge, but didn't. Money is freedom. Freedom to live by your values. Freedom to choose what matters to you. So next time someone asks for a small favor, a quick loan, or just a little help, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, if I were the one in trouble, would they help me back? And if the answer is no, you owe them nothing. I used to think being kind meant always saying yes. But I've learned something the hard way. Every time I gave and the other person had no intention of repaying, no respect, no appreciation, I wasn't giving from love. I was giving from guilt. And that was hurting me more than helping them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And if your thoughts are always, I should help, I must help, I have to fix this, eventually, you'll have nothing left for yourself." So ask yourself, what am I building with my time and money? A relationship based on trust, or a system built on quiet exploitation? You've worked too hard for the life you have now. Don't let guilt convince you to hand it away. Protect your money. Protect your energy. Because underneath it all, you're protecting your freedom, your dignity, and your sense of self-worth. You don't just have the right to keep what you've earned. You have a responsibility to protect it. So, no one gets to take your kindness without honoring the cost. Have you ever been pulled into an argument just because you were the reasonable one? You tried to do the right thing, tried to help, tried to be fair, but somehow, you still ended up being the one everyone blamed. That happened to me. My uncle called, asking if I could help mediate a land dispute with another family member. I wasn't involved, but I thought, if I don't step in, things will only get worse. So I said yes, believing I could be the bridge, the peacekeeper, the calm voice in the storm. But here's what really happened. One side accused me of favoritism. The other said I wasn't firm enough. No one saw how hard I was trying. No one asked if I was okay. And in the end, nothing got resolved. Except me. Feeling tired, stuck, and quietly resented by both sides. Have you ever felt that being the mature one, the peacemaker, the person who's always expected to step in, even when it's not your war to fight? People say you're wise, grounded, emotionally strong. But what they don't see is how that strength starts choking your peace of mind, day by silent day. It's hard to stay out of things when people you love are in conflict. You want to help. You want to stop the pain. But here's the truth. You may not want to admit, not every conflict needs you. Not every battle is yours to fight. And sometimes, when you step in, you don't become the solution. You become the next target. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You don't have to have an opinion about everything." And he was right. You don't have to fix everything just because you care. You can love people and still not get involved. You can respect both sides and still walk away. So next time someone asks you to play referee, try saying, "I respect you both, but this isn't my fight." You're not turning your back on anyone. You're turning back to your own peace. You weren't born to stand between every war. You were born to live with boundaries, to protect your calm, to honor your space, to prioritize the quiet inside you. Not every problem is yours. Not every storm needs your umbrella. And not every love requires you to break yourself in half to prove you care. I am allowed to love people without fixing everything for them. I am allowed to choose peace over participation. If this resonates with you, drop one conflict today that was never yours to carry and share it in the comments. What are you finally walking away from your clarity? Might be the permission someone else has been waiting for. Have you ever changed your hair, your clothes, your way of speaking, just to fit in, just to be accepted, only to realize you still feel like you're not enough? Linda was that kind of woman, gentle, rooted, peaceful. She lived slow. She found joy in nature. She didn't care much about trends or technology. But after her daughter found success in the corporate world, the comments started rolling in. "Mom, you should learn to use this app. You really need to update the way you do things." Linda didn't want to feel outdated. She didn't want her daughter to feel embarrassed about her. So she tried to keep up, learned the smartphone, changed her hair, bought new clothes. At first, she thought, maybe this would bring them closer. But the more she changed, the more she felt like a stranger in her own life. One morning, she stood in front of the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. It wasn't the makeup. It wasn't the outfit. It was her eyes. Eyes that once sparkled with calmness, now dulled by pressure, comparison, and fear. Linda hadn't grown, she had shrunk. She had become a version of herself, crafted for someone else's comfort. Have you ever done the same? Have you ever tried so hard to be enough that you lost yourself in the process? Let's be honest. Change can be beautiful when it's rooted in truth, in self-love, and growth. But when you change just to be accepted, you're not evolving. You're erasing. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Happiness depends on being in harmony with your own values, not with other people's opinions." So let me ask you, the last time you tried to change yourself, was it because you genuinely wanted to, or because you were afraid of being left behind? That question matters. Because the cost of self-betrayal is heavy. Every time you twist yourself into a shape that's not yours, you drift a little further from the home within you. The truth is, you don't need to modernize your soul to be worthy. You don't need to fit a mold that was never made for you. You don't need to wear a mask just to feel loved. The people who truly care, they won't ask you to change to stay close. They'll walk with you, just as you are. So the next time someone says, "You should be more like this," pause, breathe, and ask yourself, do I want this change, or do I just want to be enough for them? Because real love doesn't demand that you become someone else. Real love holds space for who you already are, unpolished, unfiltered, and deeply human. You are not behind. You are not outdated. You are not too much or too little. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And that is enough. Have you ever noticed? You're always there for others. Always the one who says, "Sure, I'll help." Even when your body is tired. Even when your heart is aching. You're the strong one. The reliable one. The one who holds it all together. But has anyone asked, "Are you okay?" Mark was that person. The go-to guy for everyone. When his brother's car broke down, Mark was there. When a coworker missed a deadline, Mark stayed late. When a friend spiraled into emotional chaos, Mark dropped everything just to listen. At first, he felt proud to be dependable, proud to be kind, proud to be someone who never let others down. But slowly, that pride began to feel like pressure. Like weight on his shoulders that no one else seemed to notice. No one asked if he was tired. No one wondered if he had dreams of his own. No one saw the quiet exhaustion behind his gentle smile. And that's when it hit him. When you never set boundaries, the world assumes you have none. Your sacrifices become invisible. Your silence becomes permission. And your kindness starts to look like obligation. I used to be like that too. Always present, always helpful, always saying yes. Until one day, I realized I wasn't showing up for myself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A happy life is one in harmony with yourself." And harmony doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from knowing when to stop, and from daring to say, "This time, I choose me." So I'll ask you gently now, are you helping out of love or out of fear? The fear of being judged, of being seen as selfish, of disappointing someone. But listen closely. True kindness doesn't mean self-abandonment, and compassion doesn't require self-erasure. You were not born to rescue everyone. You were born to live a life that nourishes you too. Happiness is not a gift you give away endlessly. It is a sacred flame you are allowed to keep for yourself. You don't have to show up for everyone to be loved. You only have to show up for you. So next time someone calls on you again and your heart whispers, "But what about me?" Pause. Place a hand on your chest. And remember, you are not selfish for needing rest. You are not unkind for saying no. You are not wrong for choosing yourself. If no one has asked you today, let me be the first. Are you okay? And if the answer is no, that's okay too. Today, choose to show up for yourself, fully, gently, without guilt. Because you matter. Because you're worthy. Because you deserve peace too. Have you ever felt like you're slowly disappearing in a world that keeps asking you to become someone else? You try to keep up, be more modern, more efficient, more acceptable. But the more you try, the further you drift from who you truly are. I once knew a woman who made handmade crafts. She moved slowly. She poured love into every piece she created. Her customers adored her, not because she was perfect, but because she was real. And then one day, someone told her, "Your style's a bit outdated. People want faster now, sleeker, trendier." So she tried. She learned social media, started making reels, changed the way she worked. Her products still sold, but her spirit faded. She said to me, "I'm doing well, but I feel like I've lost my voice." Can you relate? In this world of algorithms and expectations, where everything is curated and perfection is praised, your truth, your essence can easily get drowned out. You see others doing more, earning more, growing faster, and you start wondering, am I falling behind? But listen to me now. You don't need to be trendy to be respected. You don't need to produce like a machine to be worthy. You don't need to match someone else's rhythm to be enough. True value doesn't come from how polished it looks. It comes from how alive it feels. Your creative space doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's just a quiet corner in your home, a melody you hum when no one's around, a journal entry that never gets posted. But it's sacred, because in that space, you don't need permission to exist, and that, my friend, is your freedom. Don't let the noise of the world make you forget the sound of your own soul. You don't have to become what's liked. You already matter just by being who you are. So the next time you feel lost in the pressure to keep up, pause, breathe, and ask what feels true to me. Right now, that answer. That's your compass home. I honor my pace. I protect my voice. I create from the place that feels like home. If this spoke to something inside you, take a moment. Share this with someone who's forgotten how beautiful their truth really is. And remember, you don't need to catch up. You just need to come back to you. Do you remember the last time you really breathed, not rushed, not worried, just breathed for you? I once sat down with a woman who had everything the world admired: smart, respected, always there for others. The kind of woman people call when they need advice, help, support. And yet on a quiet afternoon when the noise faded, she cried, "I know how to listen to everyone except myself," she said. Have you ever felt like that? You know when someone else is hurting, but you don't notice your own exhaustion. You know how to comfort others, but don't know how to hold space for your own pain. You help others heal, but you can't seem to say, "I'm hurting too." When you're always looking outward, it's easy to forget what your own soul sounds like. You lose your connection with yourself when you don't even realize how tense your shoulders have become. When you don't remember the last time you felt truly happy. When you forget what it's like to be alone without feeling guilty. Listening to yourself isn't selfish, it's brave. It's the quiet courage of someone who's spent too long being pulled into everyone else's life and is now choosing even just one step to come home to herself. The Stoic said, "To live in harmony with yourself is the highest happiness," and that harmony, it doesn't come from big dramatic changes. It comes from pausing, placing your hand on your chest, and asking, "Am I okay?" Maybe it's been a long time since you asked yourself, "What do I need? What feelings have I buried? Am I living or just surviving?" So today, give yourself 10 minutes. No one else. No one to save. Just you. You are not a machine. You are not the emotional container of the world. You are a soul with dreams, with tenderness, with needs that matter. Tuning into yourself doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It makes you whole. And from this moment on, you have every right to come home to you. I honor what I feel. I hear my own voice. I give myself permission to be. If this message touched something inside, you send it to a woman who needs to hear it too. And remember, you matter. You always have. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and you no longer feel the need to hold it all together. You stop overgiving, stop shrinking, stop trading your peace just to be seen as good. You no longer rush to take on things that were never yours. You're no longer the fixer, the peacemaker, the one who pays with your money, your time, your energy, just to keep everyone else okay. You stop saying yes when your body is screaming no. You stop changing who you are just to not be left behind. You no longer pretend you're fine, when deep down, you're barely holding on. That life, the one that feels impossible, doesn't need a revolution, doesn't require you to disappear and come back reborn. It starts with something simple, a whisper, a choice. I choose to protect my peace. And before you scroll away like you always do, pause, just for a breath. And ask yourself, what burdens am I carrying that don't belong to me? Who's quietly draining my energy, my finances, my stability, my soul? Where did I lose myself? And what's the first piece I want to reclaim? You see, we often believe we have to do it all, so nothing falls apart. But you weren't born to hold up the world. You were born to breathe deeply, to live gently, to feel this life as yours, not as a role you perform for others. And if you're waiting for a reason to begin here, it is. Every time you say no to what is not yours to carry, you say yes to the life that is meant for you. Your life isn't in anyone else's hands. It starts with what you choose to keep and what you finally choose to let go. So today, if there's just one thing you do for yourself, let it be this: reclaim something you once gave away too easily. Your peace, your boundaries, your true voice, your creative space, your rest, your tiny joy. Take it back. One choice at a time, you will find your way back to you whole, grounded, and free.